The November wind hordes camped outside the tensely waiting city. For a few days their scouts, dark, glowering giants from the north, roamed the skies restlessly overhead, searching out every weakness in the city's defenses. Shrill, laughing eddies of wind reveled riotously through the forest, toasting their coming victory with back-slapping gusts, while drunken flurries of dust caroused through the coarse meadow grasses, chanting wildly of warfare and cruel conquest. At last, worked up into a destructive fury, the invaders swept, shouting through the city, swinging sharp, icy blades that bit deep into the flesh of the inhabitants. These helpless unfortunates huddled in little groups on the street corners and through chattering teeth passed fearful comments on the days ahead, words which the wind hordes took up and tossed mockingly from group to group. Then, suddenly, the invaders were gone. The city dwellers glanced up in relief at a cloudless sky and prayed that they might enjoy yet a few more days of the fast dwindling warmth. A week passed. Then a fresh host appeared from the north, wilder, more savage than the first, drunk with the lust for conquest. Though the city cowered already in abject submission, the new wave of barbarians swept howling through the unresisting streets, cutting, pillaging, destroying everywhere. Then, quite as suddenly, they too were gone. So, the month of November passed, and the city's inhabitants knew that every fresh wave from the north brought them ever closer to the triumphal entry of the Snow Earl, and they were afraid. In the city, there was a brown-walled factory with high, dusty windows on a windy street, where many women worked at making men's shirts. Most had worked there for many years and would continue there until their eyes grew old, their faces lined and tired, grim-mouthed with disillusionment.
Sometimes, not often, a young woman left to get married. Then what buzzing excitement there was, and what a poignant contrast it made to the normal apathy. A few of the women were even glad for a few days in their co-workers' good fortune. But many others, alas, envied her in their shriveled hearts. And the bride, she left happy and proud and settled down comfortably Alas, however, to yet another life of drudgery, as her dreams lay scattered about her feet like dry leaves.
For after a time, as smoke rising from the chimneys is dispersed by November's winds, her happiness drifted away, and the years once again swirled past her unnoticed like eddies of dust. No one in the city was happy. Oh, there was brittle laughter and what passes among desperate people for merriment. But happiness? Go there. See for yourself.
I've passed my life as a stranger, Lord. Roamed far in foreign lands. Far, Lord, far. Too far. Only he who knows he's far from home, only he, Lord, understands. Only he who knows he's far from home feels the earth and understands. Sometimes a stranger did take me in, then love I thought was near. Love, Lord, where is love? Like the winds upon the desert sand, whisper hope, then disappear. Like soft winds breathe on the desert sand, so love sighs, then disappears. Sometimes a child laughed and I did pause and dreamed of joys at home. Joys, Lord, only a dream. For what joy is there without your smile? Empty like the ocean foam. For what joy is there without your smile? You're the sea, all else is foam.
Yet, it was in this factory that Lisa worked. Lisa, thrice visited, thrice called by the golden sun man. One person alone knows the story directly, an older worker in the factory and Lisa's only close acquaintance. Alas, no one in that loveless city has any real friends. But this woman, by this time seldom repeats the tale. Lisa worked in the center of the large floor at a solid wooden table with several other women. Together from morning till closing time, their duty was to sew buttons of many shapes, colors, and sizes, on to men's shirts.
Lisa was young, simple-hearted, and kind, with eyes that still knew how to smile. 2 years earlier, she had begun working there to support her aged mother. Then one day, some months ago, the old woman had died. Had her soul gone anywhere? Who knew? Who except Lisa even cared? But the young girl, lacking another focus for her life, worked on, not really aware of the drudgery, existing from week to week, like all the other women, for the refuge of each coming Sunday. Sunday was their day of rest. Late that morning, with heavy eyelids, they might shake off slumber, drink something warm, glance idly at photographs in some cheap magazine. Then usually they slept again.
This forever was the best that they asked of life. Escape each Sunday from reality. Escape into the hazy peace that people find who have forgotten how to walk on clouds of gold. The second week in November ended. Several days had passed in a gaunt procession of icy wind and rain.
As the factory's closing time drew near, the large room where Lisa worked stirred with restless chatter, and thoughts of the freezing journey home were mitigated by welcome thoughts of their day of rest ahead. Sunday, their day of nothingness, their day of sleep.
The hands on the faded clock moved steadily with the impartiality of destiny until, at last, the bell sounded. 5 o'clock.
The women, stirred to motion like ripples on a pond, rose from their tables. Jostling forward in an impatient line, they gathered scarves and shawls, punched the time clock, and hurried home.
What is it for? Walking alone, alone. What is it for? Walking alone. Must our paths ever be like the winds on the sea? Oh, walking alone. What is it for? Singing alone, alone. What is it for? Singing alone. Must our songs ever be like the winds on the sea? Oh, singing alone. What is it for? Laughing alone, alone. What is it for? Laughing alone. Must our joys ever be like the winds on the sea? Oh, laughing alone. What is it for? Living alone, alone. What is it for? Living alone. Must our lives ever be like the winds on the sea? Oh, living alone. Oh, living alone.
Lisa, since her mother's death, had rented quarters in an older part of the city, an inexpensive attic room, poorly heated, with one sloping window, almost a skylight, and a gray slated roof.
Sometimes on Sunday morning, when heavy skies for a brief hour or two parted their veils and allowed the sun to smile upon the city with brief, much-needed warmth, a shaft of sunlight, pale but friendly, would slant down into Lisa's room, for a time bringing light to Lisa's heart.
The room's furnishings were few and old, though good enough, I dare say, for comfort of a poor girl. A small worn rug that clung fearfully to the center of the floor, a wobbly table, a chair, and a spring bed which creaked complainingly whenever Lisa stretched upon it, turned to the wall to escape her thoughts of the city.
Lisa glanced around her as if with the silent question, "Is this all?" The cold room, the chair, the emptiness answered her even more silently. She then gazed up through the high sloping window. For a moment her thoughts soared into the vast evening sky. She sat at the table, listening to the silent, gathering night. An hour passed. Then, moved suddenly by a strange expectancy, she got into bed and gazed up again through the slanting window. Night, that compassionate thief, crept stealthily over the housetops, snaring men's cares and fears in a soft net of slumber.
Sleep is calling, fly up high, be a cloud moving in the sky. Soar above the winding river, ask the stars, what am I? Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sleep is calling, soar in light, be a star shining through the night. Tell all creatures that you love them, tell the shadows be bright. Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sleep is calling, fly up high, be a cloud moving in the sky. Soar above the winding river, ask the stars, what am I? Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sleep is calling, soar in light, be a star shining through the night. Tell all creatures that you love them, tell the shadows be bright. Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sleep is calling, fly up high, be a cloud moving in the sky. Soar above the winding river, ask the stars, what am I? Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Sleep is calling, soar in light, Be a star shining through the night. Tell all creatures that you love them. Tell the shadows be bright. Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby. Lullaby, lullaby, lullaby.
A few bright stars peered timidly through the ragged, flapping trains of vanished clouds. Then bolder they came out and beckoned to their smaller sisters. Soon they all joined together, laughing in a game of hide and seek, while stern, lingering vapors, dignity affronted, gathered their garments about them and hastened grimly toward the horizon. The rain and the wind, tired of their attack on the Deventsa city, moved on in search of new prey in distant lands. After a time rose the moon, and earth and heaven, long battered by the raging storm, drank deep of the cool, still, revivifying light.
Through the sloping window of Lisa's room, a wide ray of moonlight descended to the floor, drenching it in peace. She saw it and smiled. Somewhere in the distance a bird sang, seeming to the young girl to be telling tales of undying love, of shining happiness. Ah, she thought, if only life would really offer such blessings. Was pure love even possible? Was happiness? Did anyone exist anywhere on earth to whom these ideals were more than dreams? A pang of yearning stabbed her heart, its sharp pain bringing tears to her eyes. How long she had known this yearning, like a flute at twilight, playing its lonely notes on a distant hill. This yearning had haunted her, had been with her always. Deeply it underlay the long rolling years, the days, the endless seeming months of her young life.
Tonight, however, some subtle change seemed to be wafting on the night breeze with that lonely melody, as though the flute notes were dancing. Was some kindly shepherd playing to listening ears somewhere? To listening thoughts, to listening answering smiles. A hint, it seemed, no more, but the melody of yearning through the years was laden suddenly with a new, a very special message. What was its purport? Was it of hope? Was that slight rising at the end of each line a hint of some smiling promise?
Tonight, the young girl saw herself all at once a creature of the city no longer. To herself, she seemed a butterfly, struggling for release from its cocoon, free and soaring. She felt as if she were joining in laughter with the comets, leaping lightly over distant star clouds, drinking thirstily with light rays of the moon, and sipping at fountains of eternal joy.
Sleep caught her again, rocking her gently in its cloud arms of peace. Meanwhile, the pale ray of moonlight moved slowly forward, flowed over the old uneven boards, caressed with magic fingers the shabby walls, the old and worn furniture, and touched the bed lightly whereon Lisa lay.
Nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night. Teach my heart to impart everywhere your delight. Sing of moon rays on the rain, sing that love's not in vain. Every grief, every wrong has its ending in song. Nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night. Teach all men how to spin clouds of gloom into light. Without silence, what is song? Without night, where is dawn? Were it not for men's woes, who would smile at a rose? Nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night. Let each tone silence groan, earth and heaven unite. Morning laughter, evening tears, snow and blossoms all fade. Joy must sing in the night to face change unafraid. Nightingale, nightingale, nightingale.
Lisa awoke with a start and sat up. A glance at a clock by her bed told her that it was already late. Soon the sun would reach its zenith. Light filled the window, though slightly dimmed by a passing cloud. Everything seemed watchful in anticipation. A quiet sense of excitement gripped the still air, as though eager to tell it something. Lisa hardly dared to breathe. Turning, she sat motionless on the edge of the bed.
A dove flew by outside, its wing beats quickly fading away. And in that mystical hush, the rustling passage seemed almost an omen. Then the cloud was gone and the room brightened. A wide ray of sunlight, warm and quiet, poured through the sloping window like a shower of gold onto the floor.
What was it this day that impressed Lisa so strangely? The beams of sunlight shone with some subtle power.
Minutes passed. Then, in the steady flow of light, fresh waves of radiance, as of some alien substance, shimmered downward, landing in the pool of gold on the floor. The light of the room was drawn as if magnetically into the shining column. In the center of that luminescence, an apparition slowly began to take shape. At last, a cloud-like human form appeared. It was vaguely moving, a misty arm seemed stretched out in blessing, fingers merging into diaphanous light. A bright sunburst about the head condensed into shining golden light. Where luminous cascades had seemed to swirl gracefully to the floor, a flowing robe now appeared, spirally draped.
And there, at last, stood the most beautiful being Lisa had ever seen. A man? But surely it was an angel. Strength suggested in that firm bearing was softened in the eyes by an expression of compassionate love. Wisdom in the high forehead was sweetened by a smile that hinted at whole realms of inner joy. Lisa knelt instinctively in adoration. Words seemed superfluous, but oh, her heart sang. Divine peace, like a refreshing, weightless waterfall, overwhelmed her. Love, almost the bearer of pain, filled her heart. How long she remained there, she could not have told.
But the sun, making its slow arc through the sky, moved the pool of light on the floor nearer and nearer to the spot where Lisa, with bursting heart, knelt. Suddenly, as she gazed at his feet, she found herself encircled in the golden aureole of lambent light that surrounded him.
Startled, almost afraid, she glanced up, and the sun's rays struck her full in the face. Alas, that too penetrating brilliance! Tightly she closed her eyes and quickly lowered her head. When she looked up again, he was gone. Wildly she looked around, but he had vanished. The sunlight had lost its magic quality. Her room, poor and plain as it had been before, whispered no echo of the melody that only moments before had touched it so wondrously. At first, Lisa felt stranded as though lost in a tunnel of night. Had the sun man appeared so briefly, only to abandon her forever? But then, the memory of her experience, like a mighty wave, burst on her anew. Love exists. She was wonderstruck at the revelation. Joy exists. New doors of transcendent meaning seemed to be opening onto the vast universe around her. It was as though life itself for her had dawned only with the sun's light today. And though outwardly the world gave no sign that it was changed, never more for her, she felt, would it be the same. Her bare room, humble as it still was, seemed drab no longer, but sweet in its simplicity and gently unassuming. Her work at the factory, humdrum as she had good reason to think it, seemed useful now. A service, yes, and an important one. A way of touching hearts, for whom the city streets meant loneliness. The thought of working there filled her all at once with happiness, with unalloyed delight.
What is love? Is it only ours? Or does love whisper in the flowers? Surely we, children of this world, could not love by our own powers. What is joy? Is it just a dream? Or does joy laugh in every stream? Are the clouds mindless after all? Or is joy all nature's theme? God is dead, so men say. Can't they see all life's his play? Not a church binds him as its own, not a creed makes him fully known. Foolish we, if we limit him. Every atom is his throne. What is love? Is it only ours? Or does love whisper in the flowers? Surely we, children of this world, could not love by our own power. What is love? What is love? Is it love we touch in the flowers?
When on Monday morning Lisa returned to work, her heart was floating still, as if wafted on joyous waves of inspiration.
The other women, sensing something new around Lisa, as though some cloud of light enfolded her, gathered in little groups, eager for gossip. "What's wrong with Lisa?" they whispered. A few of them conjectured, perhaps maybe she's in love.
But Lisa only smiled.
Then her favorite acquaintance, observing how Lisa's thoughts, like migrant birds, seemed to be soaring to distant lands, reflected, well, if that girl isn't in love, she must surely be unwell. At lunchtime, she addressed Lisa. "Child, I must ask you, Is there some burden on your heart? You seem so far away from us. Is something wrong?
But Lisa only smiled. That week, however, as she sat hunched up over some new style shiny button, she thought often of the golden sun man. Would he visit her again? Ah, would he? Could he forsake her now? Oh, could he heartlessly withhold the cup from which she had so lately tasted love?
Long I've called you, my Lord, long I've called you. Many years I have longed for your sight. Bathe the darkness with tears of devotion, offered candles in prayer to your light. How much longer, friend, must I cry your name? I am yours, ever yours. Will you come? Long I've called you, my Lord, long I've called you. Many years I have longed for your sight. Bathe the darkness with tears of devotion, offered candles in prayer to your light. How much longer, friend, must I cry your name? I am yours, ever yours. Will you come?
Sunday came at last, and with it good weather. Lisa, waking late, sat up hurriedly. High above, the sun's light was dimmed by a faint passing cloud, as it had been the last Sunday. Yes, Lisa thought, there was something in the air. The atmosphere seemed to thrill with expectancy, quiet, vibrant, intense. The stage seemed set. Ah, surely he would return.
Outside the window a bird sang, a sweet reassurance it seemed that a few fragile melodies, echoes of the summer zephyrs, had yet survived the bitter onslaughts of approaching winter.
As she sat gazing in eager anticipation, the cloud passed and the glorious sunlight poured once again into the room, irradiating its center with a pool of lambent gold. Yes, Again, thought Lisa, holding her breath. Surely from this light streamed that same mysterious power as before. Her whole being thrilled with joy as a cloud-like substance descended. Drifting gently like a shower of hope down the shaft of sunlight to the floor. Slowly it took shape, and there, at last, he stood. Lisa's heart overflowed. He had come back. The golden sun man had returned and brought light to her humble dwelling once again. She knelt before him gratefully, and the time passed in a wordless interchange of joy. Her soul yearned to merge into the bliss that flowed through him from some source in infinity.
After many minutes, smiling gently, as if speaking from far-off sun-drenched fields, he addressed her. In crystal tones as of mountain music, he told her of another land, a land of golden sunshine and laughter, a realm where love and joy formed the very sinews of existence.
Strange, listening to him, she felt, I have known this land before. Was it not mine, too, once, eons ago? Is it not the reflected image of some ancient memory, faintly visible through the nodding trees of more recent, more boldly etched impressions? Glimpses of distant mountain meadows, flowering gaily with once cherished joys.
He had come, he told her, in answer to her call. It was your yearning for pure happiness, for crystal love, that drew me to your sad, misty world. Your tears could be seen through the night, piercing the dark veil of your own forgetfulness. They rained like dew upon our mountainsides in glistening showers of light. Tell me, how deep is your longing? Would you leave behind you now, forever, this prison of lost hopes, your lonely city? Would you exchange your life here for the shining freedom of my world?
His world? Joy in exchange for sorrow? Gold for dust? Lisa's heart cried out with hope.
The pool of sunlight, moving slowly, steadily across the floor, bathed her suddenly anew in the light that encircled him.
Instinctively she drew back, ashamed to behold herself mere creature of the city that she was, enhaloed in the same light that surrounded this angelic being. Glancing up to apologize, she caught a brief glimpse of his countenance.
He was smiling sadly. At that moment, the sun's blaze struck her full in the eyes.
Quickly, she lowered her gaze, squeezing her eyes tightly shut. When she looked up again, he was gone, and she had not answered him. Oh, that sad smile. Was he disappointed in her? Would he never come again? Self-accusation alternated with uncertainty. Both combined to pollute the crystal springs of ecstasy that had begun to well up within her. A fit of weeping seized her. It lasted the entire day.
Where has my love gone? Long are the nights. Now that he's left me, dimmed my delights. Where is my love friend? Passed he this way? Saw you his smile? Oh, what did he say? Ah, passed he here? Thy sweetheart passed he here? Sweet was his promise when first we met. Whispers of heaven made me forget heartaches and labors, earth-searing pain. Rest now, he said, you've found love again. Ah, passed he here? Thy sweetheart passed he here? Life's made of dreams, friend, dreams that must break, quickly dispersing when we awake. Strange that when love calls, memory stays, crying across the tides of our days. Ah, passed he here? Thy sweetheart passed he here? There by my bed he left me a note. Can you explain these words that he wrote? Seek me, he said, love, out on the sea. Boundless the reaches of true love must be. Ah,
In the factory that Monday morning, Lisa's work sat heavy on her lap. Sadly, she gazed out the window at the sunshine as it disported itself on the gray wall across the street. Persistently, the question echoed in her mind. Had the sun man left her now? What a mockery the word seemed. Forever?
Slowly the clouds gathered. By late afternoon the sky was frowning, dark and foreboding. Observing a kindred darkness in Lisa's eyes, her closest acquaintance thought, well, it may be love, but more likely this matter is more sinister. Something must be wrong with that girl. At lunchtime, she addressed her. Now this time, girl, tell me. No, don't look off with that migratory smile, but tell me really what is wrong with you. And this time, though expecting only to be mocked, Lisa told her tale. To her surprise, her acquaintance took her seriously. Indeed, she had heard of this man.
Others there are. I've spoken with a few of them who claim to have seen this foreigner in our midst. Most of them are old now, but years ago they claim he came to them, drifting downward on a shaft of sunlight into their dingy homes. Like you, they tell of how, when the light encircling him struck them full in the eyes, he disappeared. I think they must have been dreaming, though it's strange, I admit, that every one of them, bent, gnarled old crones, stoop-shouldered, misty-eyed, dreamed the same dream. A few of them dream something beyond that. It seems he wasn't satisfied with merely coming to them, but spoke in fluting words, inviting them, so it seems, to soar away with him to some distant never land, a place he made out to be quite unlike this, our own fair, or at any rate, quite real and perfectly normal city. And did they go? Lisa asked eagerly. She had said no word of the Sun Man's invitation. No, luckily for them, they stayed. She gazed about her as if severely to affirm the rightness of their life in the city. Smugly then, she continued, they were too clever to succumb, not that far anyway. Time passed, and this oddity ended his visits. Well, after all, they had obligations to their work, to their lives in the city, and to the rightful expectation of their friends and families. A few of them, I suppose. Such, I'm afraid, is human weakness. Wondered as the years passed whether by refusing they had not been cowardly. Perhaps it was their vacillating natures that first attracted him. In any case, the facts are clear and obvious to anyone of common sense. It took courage to resist what was either an idle dream or even worse, a terrible temptation. Oh well, what good can there have been in that strange fantasy? Uselessly, these women try to share it, clutching at strangers' sleeves on crowded streets. Few stop to listen. Most shake their clutching hands off impatiently. Yet, if one of them, unpressed for time, pauses to hear the tale, those women only weep. Lisa said nothing. Silently, however, she wondered, had those tired old women done well to refuse? And if so, did she herself belong to the city? And the city to her? Gradually, the doubt grew within her. Was not her duty here? What indeed would her co-workers think if she abandoned her work at the factory? Might it not place a strain on them all? Now, especially in the November winds, could a replacement be found? And would it not be cowardly to flee while the city's inhabitants prepared themselves bravely to face the cold of winter?
That week passed in slow, plodding minutes. Wednesday, the cutting winds began again, driving across the city without mercy. "It won't be long now," the women said to one another, glancing uneasily out the window, "before the snows begin." Lisa sat shivering, numb with the cold, her little pile of work before her, sewing buttons onto men's shirts with automatic precision.
Often and often now, she thought of the coming Sunday and prayed longingly that the sun might shine again, yes, just once again, that she might once more be given the opportunity to decide. But even then she asked herself, even if the sun does shine, will he come? He had said she owed his visits to her own deep yearning for love and happiness. Well, but surely her yearning was more intense now than it had ever been. But was it? The doubt returned. Had her feelings, all unperceived by her, like the fleeting hours of nocturnal darkness, changed? He had offered her everything her heart had ever craved, yet she had drawn back from it, as if a stranger to it. Was not this, her very hesitancy, proof that she rejected the gift he bore? She knew, at any rate, that if his offer was renewed, she must decide where her life truly belonged. Were perfect love and happiness hers by right? Or did she, after all, owe her existence to the cold, unfeeling city? Her favorite acquaintance had claimed that those women were wise to turn away. But what, by remaining, had they gained? And what, for that matter, had they given?
There lived a tender maid in a far-off country. The strangeness of this world made her sigh. Her friends asked their fathers for money and clothes. but all she could ask was, why? She saw the solemn clouds gathered watching a rainbow. The bright rays of their joy filled the sky. Her teachers explained it all wisely away, but still her heart wondered, why? She saw the silent stars thrill the night with their gladness. They seemed some wondrous truth to imply. Her elders all slept, but the magic of light awoke her to ponder, why? She saw a mother smile as she tended her baby, a widow weep that love had to die. The joy of new friends and the sadness of parting, all these made her ask God, why?
Sunday came. It was late when Lisa woke, and the sun was high, though this time unobscured by any cloud. The light already filled the room with a glory well nigh unendurable. The girl's heart swelled as if in a rising silent hymn of faith and hope. Minutes passed. Then a cloud-like shape drifted downward. In the golden shaft, slowly, the misty figure once again took shape. And there he stood.
To Lisa, he seemed more than ever divinely beautiful. As she stood before him, the city ceased for her to exist. The miracle of his presence was all she now knew. She felt she had been born into a wonderful, into the only true life.
The Sun Man, however, smiled sadly as he had the last time. I have asked so many. Almost all have refused. Will you too with burdened heart, turn back to your cold, unfeeling city? Is the power of love too great for your weak heart also to bear?
Alas, was that it? Was it love she had feared? Not the betrayal of her duty? Considering anew her heart's dilemma, she saw now that the city cared for her not at all, was incapable of love for her, was incapable of love. How then, by leaving it, could she betray it? And what was her highest duty, if not to love itself? I love thee. Let all that I know and am be drowned in the ocean of pure love. No, I am not afraid. Love only is life. Without love, all else is death.
The sunlight, stealing once more slowly across the floor, enveloped her once again in a blaze of glory. But this time she welcomed it, the more so because it encircled also him. She knew now that she belonged to that light, and that light to her. That whatever was outside of it no longer pertained to her. Fearlessly, she gazed into the full brilliance. And the shaft of light moved on slowly across the empty room.
Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire, only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love, all the stars above call to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam, only only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool was I to turn away.
Back in the factory the next morning, the other women worked sewing buttons onto men's shirts. Most of them toiled in silence, unconscious of the passing time. After a while, one of Lisa's little circle looked up and saw her empty chair.
Does anyone know where Lisa is? No, I suppose she's out sick.
A button slipped from her cold fingers to the floor. With peering eyes, she stooped in search of it and addressed it sharply with self-concern. When again she sat down, Lisa was forgotten.
At lunchtime, another woman commented on Lisa's absence. Her favorite acquaintance heard and wondered.
Yes, wondered, though in her heart, I think she knew whether the missing girl had, after all, dared to leave for another this most real of all imaginable worlds.
One night into her heart stole the secret of oneness, the bond not even time can untie. For love then possessed her and made her his own. In love she at last learned why.
experience for all of us. And thank you for coming tonight. Those of you who are able to stay and help us prepare for tomorrow's service.